It's time for the KickAround, the Ticket's weekly show all about soccer. 2 hours of HSOs on the clubs, leagues, and tournaments of the world's game. It doesn't matter if you're new to the sport, don't worry. This is the Ticket. We're just kicking it around. Now, here's two guys hoping for short shorts to come back in style. Andy Swift and Peter Welton.
Brahim Diaz lofted into Valverde! Oh, what a hat-trick! What a hat-trick! Stunning! Memorable! Historic!
Hi-ho, P1s, and welcome to the KickAround Saturdays, 2 to 4 here in our comfortable, natural habitat of 2 to 4. On Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310, The Ticket, where you, the good P1, sits around, talks soccer, and all that implies. Hi, it's me, Peter. Don't forget, you can find us on our website, thekickaround.com, and to my left, but to your right, as you look with great anticipation and love into your broadcast device or streaming apparatus, it is the world's most interesting man, Andy Dalton Swift.
Peter, you doing okay? A little worried about you.
I don't like it when I can't get things to work and I cannot repair it. That frustrates nerd Peter.
Most P1s know that you are our resident tech geek, right?
Yeah.
But man, have I never seen the side of you I saw earlier when tech does not work for you, because tech always works for you and you can always make it work if it doesn't.
And today, Cumulus printer networking has gotten the best of me.
I thought maybe I was going to have to go to a different studio to do the show because I couldn't even talk to them.
No.
Dylan, you saw it, right? So anyway, good to be on the show, though. I'm glad you got in a little better mood.
No, I just when you can't get the printer to work, because, as you know, with Norm's retirement several years ago, I accepted the role of the new Norm when it comes to printing everything out.
Yes, you
because
are
I'm an
old
school radio guy.
Which is, it's so weird because you are also the tech guy.
But I don't.
The tech geek.
Okay, so this is a weird.
So how do those two things coexist in your brain?
I don't like reading stuff off the screen, and this is the buzzy one, by the way, Trammell. You hear that? It is the buzzy one. So let's get the other wire. Let's get the other wire.
It's creeping in again.
Will you find the other wire for me, please, Andy?
Sure. Let me get up. I'm going to turn my mic off. Why don't you vamp for a while without me?
So today on the show, assuming that everything doesn't explode and fall apart right in front of me, we will try to do a show today. So there's the other. Let's see. Is that working? Much better, everybody. We love it. Okay, very good. So, on the show today, we do have a small yet boring slate of Premier League games to talk about.
Did you fall asleep this morning?
No. Well, you know what I did?
Through it?
I slept in this morning.
Yeah, well.
Because there was...
It's the 1 week when daylight savings doesn't coincide, right?
Do you know, I don't think their daylight savings time happens until another 2 weeks.
No.
I think the 23rd I don't think it's next weekend either.
We
yeah.
don't have 6:30 matches for a while. Huh?
Stop it. That's awful. I like the 6:30 match. Jeff Carlisle from ESPN is going to check in with us to talk and catch us up on all things U.S. men's national team as we approach the March friendlies. We had some Champions League action to discuss. World Cup nerd. Today we will take a look back at the life and times of 1994. What was it like as we were approaching our very first hosting job of a World Cup and America's favorite soccer segment known as The Dribble? Let's do the most important and serious of all of them now.
Soccer Headline.
All right. So let's do the scoreboard first, since the Premier League was pretty snoozy. Although right now, Arsenal and Everton are still at donuts in the 87th minute, and Newcastle is up a goal.
We've had 4 matches, 2 goals.
Yeah,
it's not the best advertisement for the game, is it?
Not good. No. So let's look at the other leagues. Over in the Bundesliga, which isn't super exciting unto itself, did have something interesting happen today, Andy, with Bayern Munich.
Oh.
So they played Leverkusen today, and it ended up being 1-1. Now, that's not the interesting part of the game.
It should be.
An interesting part of the game is not that Harry Kane, again, didn't start, but did come on as a sub. It's that Bayern ended the game with only 9 players.
Ooh.
So Nicholas Jackson, starting for Kane, got a straight red for an awful, awful tackle. I mean, he's so lucky he didn't break that dude's leg.
From behind, no ball.
Just bad.
Studs up.
Just bad.
Is that the worst kind of tackle?
No,
Okay.
I don't know. And then in the second half, Diaz got a second yellow for diving in the box. And they had to play with 9 men. 9, not 10, 9. We don't see the 9-man team very often. But they held off Leverkusen and
they
ended up
drew.
1-1.
By the way, they were down 1-0 when the first red card happened.
Yeah, they came back and scored, made it 1-1.
Yeah.
But this is really more a result that Leverkusen needed as they're trying to fight to qualify for the Champions League.
So did that tighten things up in the Bundesliga table? Let's check it.
Not really.
Hopefully that made Dortmund get a little closer.
No. It's still a 9-point lead between them and Dortmund, and I don't suspect anything will change other than that. Over in Italy, Inter, since getting bounced by Bodo Glimt in the Champions League a couple weeks ago, they have not won a game. They've drawn twice, and they lost last week in the Milan derby. And today they drew against Atalanta, who are also coming off a pretty poor week in the Champions League. Now they still have an 8-point lead, and Milan and Lazio play tomorrow. But even if Milan wins that game, it'll still be a nice hefty lead for.
It'll be 5.
Inter.
That's still within 2 games.
I guess. And I have a whole thing about Lazio I want to talk about later in the show that I was unaware of.
You're a Serie A expert these days, I see.
No, it's just that I think the fans of Lazio have finally accepted and adopted a theory that I have been spouting for many, many years and wanting a fan base to do. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Over in La Liga, Atletico Madrid got a 1-0 win today. Real plays at 3 p.m. today, and Barcelona plays tomorrow. So currently, Barca is in first on 67 points. Madrid is 4 points behind them, and Atletico way behind at 57, 10 points behind. So that one feels pretty wrapped up. Now, were you paying attention this week in the world of Wrexham? Can you believe I'm going from the Bundesliga to Serie A to La Liga to Wrexham?
I have to admit, and full transparency here, that I wasn't until you pointed something out to me. And then I'm like, oh, because they played yesterday. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so coming off the heels of the disappointing 2-1 loss to Hull.
I watched that game.
Okay, so that was a stick in the eye.
Yeah.
They didn't need that. They had the game against Swansea, another Welsh team. That was at Wrexham yesterday, and they won that game 2-0. Now, what was the reason why this game was notable? Because it was the long-promoted game where Rob and Ryan were both in attendance, and they both tried their hand at calling a game as commentators and play-by-play guys.
And you wanted to
and they were in the booth.
Are we going to hear it?
It's not good. It's not usable on the radio because they have a professional guy with them, a third guy. I don't know who he is.
Okay.
And his struggle to get them to do something in terms of describing what they were seeing and not waving at their family, talking to the crowd, watching the game, it's like trying to do this show while Liverpool is on one of the TVs with you, Andy.
Or Arsenal.
Or Arsenal and Everton. It was the game was great, and they're super happy with the result because they're still in 6th place.
It was a bit, though. It was a bit.
Yeah, I love a bit.
Yeah. I misspoke. It's not the whole match I watched. It was the Chelsea. The
Chelsea FA Cup game. Yeah. So, anyway, they're still in 6th, and they're only 3 points behind the team that's in 5th, and I think they're only 5 or 6 points behind the team in 3rd. So, the odds of them moving up to an automatic promotion spot are very thin.
We just want to make the playoffs, though.
Yes.
We'd be happy with that.
100%. Yeah, it's a crazy story.
3 points ahead of Southampton.
All right. Now, you know me, Andy. I don't like talking politics, and I don't like talking geopolitics. And
so why are you going to bring it up?
Well, because this is all about the World Cup. So we got to talk about...
Okay.
I'm sorry, Andy. We have to talk about the war. And
military conflict.
Military conflict. Although, I don't know, whatever. I don't really care what you want to call it. But
bombs.
Iran, and we've got all these kind of like mixed weird messages going on. Let me just say this. I saw on the heels of him making a statement that everybody immediately and understandably jumped to the conclusion that our president was making a threat, veiled or otherwise, towards the Iranian national team in terms of coming to the United States. Mm-hmm. Now, I will tell you, I read it as, and maybe I'm misinterpreting this, maybe I'm giving him too much latitude in this, but the way I interpret it was, hey, with the stuff that was happening with the Iranian women's national team and some players that had spoken out inside Iran disappearing of late, and other things going on with the regime, I don't know if coming here and participating in an American World Cup is a smart idea for Iranian soccer players.
Yeah.
That's how I interpret it.
Yeah, and that's a fair interpretation. The thing is, when that statement came out, like it was the day before, 2 days before, FIFA and Infantino and President Trump both said that the Iranian national team was welcome to come to the World Cup and nothing changed in that regard, while the sports minister in Iran was saying there's no way we're going.
But he has no control over it.
The next day or 2 days later is when then we read what the president said about the team not being safe, right?
Yes.
Which we could interpret that the way you said.
One way or the other. Yeah. I don't know who's right.
While the Iranian government is saying nobody's going to keep us from playing in the World Cup. So they both kind of contradicted each other within 48 hours, which just shows, man, I don't know what you read, what is true, what is not true, who really said what they said or not.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I also could say, and again, I don't want to give him too much credit, but because he tends to try to negotiate deals like everything's a real estate bargain, part of me wonders if Trump making that statement was some sort of challenge to put the Iranians in a position of, well, Trump can't tell us whether we're coming to the World Cup or not.
Will the World Cup situation help bring peace to the Middle East?
No,
maybe.
It won't. No.
Maybe.
It's so stupid. But I do think it's an interesting question about what FIFA's going to do. And if Iran decides not to come participate in the World Cup, I totally get it. Mm-hmm. I mean,
it just sucks for the athletes. That's the
I feel terrible for the athletes. And I also feel bad for FIFA because now they've got to figure out how they're going to accommodate who they're going to put in that spot. Although I suspect whatever decision they come up with will be hotly contested because I'm going to guess if they do it, it won't be another team from that same confederation.
I think the easiest thing would be the following. Is Iraq, right, that is playing in the playoff?
Yes.
Automatically qualify, and then the other two teams in that path play each other to see who that other team is.
But isn't Iraq one – because isn't that path a play-in game to play a team that is seeded in that path? And I think Iraq is one of the two so it's not like two teams are playing each other, two pairs of teams to then go to a final. I think it's two teams playing each other, and the winner of that plays a seeded team.
In the path?
And I think Iraq is one of the two play-in teams, not the seeded team.
Okay, so maybe the seeded team automatically qualifies.
But I don't think they're from that confederation.
I think the easiest thing is actually to have Iraq go straight through, and then whoever they were going to play the seeded team for the other.
I think
that's the easiest
I would agree with you, although I'm sure somebody's going to bitch no matter what they decide to do. My concern is what they'll do is they'll go grab...
No, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
Iraq is the seeded team.
Okay.
So
that
send
would
them
make
up,
the most sense.
And then Bolivia and Suriname play for the other spot.
That's right. It's Bolivia, Suriname playing each other to play Iraq to then qualify.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
then Iraq's the stronger team there. Anyway.
Yeah. This is all brutal and miserable, and I hate the fact that this is what we're spending all of our time talking about, but it is what it is.
Well, then change the subject. Let's talk about something else. Okay. You are in control.
Okay. Well, this is also war.
You have the steering wheel.
But this is also war-related. It's the finalissima.
See, you just like talking about war-related
Well,
things.
It's not my fault they scheduled it to happen in the Middle East.
Okay.
Right? Is it
that they scheduled a war in the Middle East?
No.
That's not your fault. What?
No, the finalissima.
Oh, yes, the finalissima was going to be played in Dubai. No, Qatar, right?
Yes, correct. And now that's supposed to happen on March 27th. And now the story is it's Spain and Argentina, and they're trying to figure out what just happened.
Arsenal's going to score an empty netter.
Oh, Arsenal scored an empty netter. Okay. Arsenal's up 1-0.
Nope. 2-0.
Oh,
that's why it was. That's why it was an empty netter.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Spain and Argentina, and so I guess Spain decided they wanted to try to play this game in the Bernabeu in Madrid. And Argentina and CONMEBOL said no.
Yeah. So game originally Qatar. They have to move
neutral ground,
obviously, to another supposedly to somewhere else neutral. Argentina's like, no, we're not going to play it in Spain because that's what UEFA recommended. So now they're looking to put it somewhere else because Argentina said we won't play if it's going to be in Spain.
Yeah, I've read the other options are the San Siro in Madrid or a stadium in Lisbon. In Portugal.
Yeah, San Siro and not Madrid and Milan.
Milan, sorry. I'm saying next to Milan.
Or Portugal, or a home. I've heard home and away as a possibility. Why not New York?
Because it's so far. Because all the European players want to play in Europe. They don't want to travel to another continent.
And all the Argentinians play in Europe anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, okay.
That's probably what it is. So they still haven't made that decision.
How about Bodo Glimt? The Arctic Circle. That's a
they all want to go play
now.
on the 5G. And then last but not least, are you paying attention what's happening to our little neighbors to the south, Mexico?
They're having some injury issues, huh?
Yeah. What's that dude's name? Marcel Ruiz went down. He's playing for Toluca. He's their badass midfielder. And now he has torn his ACL in a Leagues Cup game or a CONCACAF Champions Cup game against San Diego the other day, and he's out. So he is not going to be available for Mexico. And if you're not paying attention, that would be tantamount to the U.S. losing. Pick one of your important midfielders and cross them off the list.
And their captain, Edson Alvarez, has been dealing with an Achilles heel issue. I think he plays in Turkey.
Yeah, I think so.
And they haven't played him, and they're not really saying much.
And their goalkeeper, I heard, got hurt. And so they may have to...
Malagón?
Yeah, and so they may have to call up... Why am I blanking on the dude with the hair's name that's been playing in goal for them forever and a day?
Yeah.
It's not El Chapo. No. Anyway, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's from Mexico. El Chapo. Come on, man.
That's the name that came in my head. So anyway, too bad, as Mark Cuban would say. Ochoa, thank you. Ochoa may end up having to get called up if, in fact, the regular goalkeeper isn't really regular.
The kid scored.
Max Dowman, the 15-year-old?
He scored.
Did he score the empty
netter, man?
The empty netter? Good Lord. 15 years old and has scored a Premier League goal as Arsenal is going to beat, or has beaten Everton 2-0. And back up at the top of the table, and everything is sing-song again for all you Gunners fans. Although that game was quite a drag for them. I don't know what time they scored their first goal, but it couldn't have been...
Injury time.
Oh,
like
both
the 91st.
Of them were... Okay. Yeah, because that's all going on. I'm not paying attention. But for 90 minutes... You could tell by the tone in the stadium that they were getting, even in like the first half of the game, you could tell the crowd was getting very frustrated that they weren't banging goals in. So.
89th was the 1-0.
Who scored that one?
I don't know. I just know the time.
So there you go. That's it. Sorry, we're dragging on. We got distracted by the Everton-Arsenal result. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into the day in the Premier League, and we'll do that next year on the KickAround. It's going to be okay, Dylan. That won't show up during the week anywhere. All right, welcome back. It's the KickAround. Thanks for joining us. I'm Peter. He's Andy. Coming up in just a few minutes, we will hear from the good Lars Sivertsen with his official statement on the current status of his Spurs.
His official statement. We have an official statement, it seems, every other week from Lars regarding his Spurs.
He's traveling again today, and he's going to be on live next week, kids, but we couldn't get him on live today, so I asked him to record, with everything going on, what happened in the Champions League and everything else. I thought it would be good. I think Spurs fans, we have a lot of Spurs fans that are P1s. They need to hear from their leader, and Lars is their leader. So we'll make that happen in about 15 minutes. All right, let's work through the rest of the league. And as we were mentioning, as we were doing the last segment, Arsenal and Everton were battling it out at the Emirates. And I thought David Moyes' game plan was going to happen because it was 0-0 as they were approaching the 90th minute. And a few minutes earlier, Arteta has gotten to the point where he's decided he's going to throw on the teenager.
Yep.
Now, I think there's probably a whole different conversation about the fact that Arsenal as the league leader has gotten to a point that Arteta has decided to start calling up the 16-year-old.
Yeah, teenager's an understatement. I mean, this guy just turned 16.
We were debating whether he was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
We were scrambling to do research to confirm that he is, in fact, 16 years and 73 days.
Wow.
And in the 89th minute, that kid puts in a burner of a cross to the far post, which ends up getting tapped back across, and Gyökeres scores it to make it 1-0. And then as I said, 16 years and 73 days, now officially the youngest goal scorer in Premier League history is Max Dowman finishes an empty netter and finish the game 2-0.
Everton takes out the keeper, they add an extra attacker, and they get caught on the counter. And the kid
Just like
scores
hockey.
on the counter, yeah.
Remarkable. And, the Premier League's been around since 92. I would have to go back and do a lot of research to find out what the youngest
Division One. Right?
Division One, yeah, it's probably the fairest way of doing it. Probably is. There's got to be another kid that's maybe younger. I don't know. It's a remarkable story because of all of the rigmarole that Arsenal has to go through just to get him to be able to participate in these games in terms of separate facilities and parental this and chauffeur that and all kinds of crazy stuff they got to do to accommodate having a teenager who's not even allowed to sign his, pro deal at this point.
1953, Duncan Edwards of your club, Man United, scored at 16 years and 185.
That's still older than Max.
It is. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, it's quite, the fact that it's the 16-year-old that had to pull Arsenal out of a draw against Everton at home is kind of hilarious.
Because it was his cross.
Man, that cross is unbelievably good. The cross, in the scheme of things, it's a really good cross. But when you realize it's a 16-year-old playing in a Premier League game, it's a stunningly good cross.
Not only that, 16-year-old playing in the best league in the world.
Right.
What were you? 16.
I was watching him when they were playing Mansfield in the FA Cup the other day, and I thought, okay, he's balling out pretty hard here.
Mansfield High School or Mansfield from England?
Mansfield, Mansfield Town.
Because it could have been a high school team.
It could have been a high school team, yes. Remarkable stuff. So Arsenal now back at the top of the table, clear as of this particular moment, 10 points. Remember, City has 2 games. They play tomorrow, and they still got a game in hand. Somewhere along the way, Arsenal and Wolves played a game outside of everybody else, so Arsenal's ahead a game, but got a 10-point lead on everybody. Are our Arsenal friends now content that they're going to win this thing?
Well, I don't know. This little lead that they built up it's kind of come into play very, very recently, right? So a month ago, it wasn't this expansive. It was a lot tighter, and they had a lot of angst. So I think they're going to have angst until it's definitely clinched.
Well, thanks to Max Dowman, we got at least a couple of more goals out of a very sparse goal weekend, which is funny because was it last weekend or the weekend before we were laughing about how many goals had been scored by the time we got to Showtime on a Saturday? Wasn't it like 20-something goals in 5 games?
It was insane.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
The Premier League had 2 less goals in fewer games than the Bundesliga, La Liga, and Serie A had on that same time frame.
It all evens out.
Combined.
It all evens out. By the way, Arsenal is 10 points clear of City with 2 games. Say City wins both of those games. They're only 4 points clear, and they have a game and they play each other once.
Yeah.
So
it's possible this.
Yeah.
It's 100% possible this could get tighter. But for example, City dropping that game last week against Forest, where they let Forest come back twice while they're playing at home, is indicative of I'm not sure City's up for this.
So City. Do you see them advancing in Champions League? We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
Do you see Arsenal advancing? Probably. So then you have Arsenal. This is what I've been saying. Arsenal's going to get in rotation issues when they go far in Champions League and when they have to win the title. City's going to be able to focus on one thing. And I don't know.
You make a compelling case, sir. That's good analysis on your part. Now, again, this is a weird day in the Premier League, at least how games are being broadcast, because this is one of those weird weekends where there's no early game, combined with the fact that the UK still has not done daylight savings time. So now they're not 6 hours ahead. They're only 5 hours ahead. So 9 o'clock games now are 10 o'clock games. Et cetera, et cetera. And we were treated to the doubleheader of Burnley and Bournemouth and Sunderland and Brighton. And Sunderland,
that has nothing to do with the time change. We just got, who?
No, but I'm just saying when you throw in the fact that we're already thrown off with a weird schedule, and then you throw in the fact that it's two really snoozer matches, we end up with that. I don't have much to comment about either one of those things other than the fact that, take note, Tyler Adams didn't play for Bournemouth today.
Yes, and he's not listed as injured.
I think it's a rest thing. I just think Tyler Adams is a guy figured out they've got to let him sit every once in a while.
He didn't suit up, though. He wasn't even on the bench.
Well, maybe that is to prevent them from
using him by accident?
Well, or just because he begs them to, right. Come on, coach, I can help score this goal kind of thing.
Okay, I thought, coaches would have more control over that.
Well, my feeling about Tyler Adams is that he's a guy that you essentially just go, no, Tyler, you're not playing today. Go sit in the stands.
Okay.
Because he's like, you got to let me play.
Put me in, coach.
Don't you think he's that way?
Sure, I think a lot of guys are like that, but
but I think him in particular, he's gonna hurt himself, and I think they've figured out they need to protect him from himself. I'm hoping that's what it is. I hope it's
because nobody said anything. We're reading. We're looking out for the P1 so we can inform by the end of the show if something comes out.
And the only goal in these two games. Did you see the goal Brighton scored today?
I did. The snoozer of a goal, the accident goal.
It was the weirdest goal.
The accident goal.
Yeah. So Mente for Brighton, they're at Sunderland, by the way, and he gets the ball out on the right-hand side. He dribbles into the box, and Xhaka is doing everything in his power to stop him without fouling him. And he gets to the end line, and he beats Xhaka, and he tries to play the ball back towards the PK spot of the top of the six, and he mishits the ball. And I don't even know what the Sunderland defender was doing. I don't know if he thought he was trying to avoid the ball from hitting his arm or he thought it was going out of bounds.
Did it hit the keeper too?
No. So I don't know. I can't think of the name of the the Sunderland defender who's at the near post.
The one that who.
So he kind of turns away because I think he thinks it's going into the side netting, and the goalkeeper just watches it and it goes in near post. And Brighton wins the game 1-0. It's the most janky goal I've seen in a while.
A very I'm sorry goal.
Very, very, I totally meant to do that goal as Brighton wins 1-0. And so Brighton now are up to 11th on 40 points, and Sunderland are slowly dripping down. They haven't won now in, goodness, they've won one game in their last 6, I think is what it is. So trying to keep their pace. Now, that is then combined with the result of Chelsea and Newcastle. We'll take a break, and we'll get into that and hear from Lars all about Spurs next year on the KickAround. Our good friend Jeff Carlisle from ESPN will be joining us in about 15-20 minutes to catch us up with the U.S. men's national team, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the hopeful, the concerning, whatever that may be.
Where's your worry meter?
My worry meter is sitting about middle.
Okay.
Which is lower than it had been. How about that?
My
worry meter was pegged out
6 months
all the
ago.
way to the
You
right.
were like at 8.8.
Will we even qualify? Welcome back to the KickAround. Let's get into the rest of the day in the Premier League. The other game that has happened, Chelsea hosting Newcastle, and Newcastle wins by a single goal scored by the most punchable face in the Premier League, Anthony Gordon, in the 18th minute. And Newcastle holds on despite only having 33% of the ball.
Wow.
Chelsea had 22 shots to 7. And
what was their XG?
The XG actually was about the same, 143 to 142. If you're an XG person, yeah, not great shots. Yeah. How about that? Chelsea's a weird one, man. I don't know how to.
The defending World Club champions, man, they're hanging on to that 5th spot.
So with all the results of the day, I actually should update this over at Opta. Arsenal now are running the title at 95.74%.
Really?
Yeah. City is the second closest, the only other one that even has any kind of amount at 4.26. So whatever's left out of 100% is given to City.
Does that? I mean, wow. That seems like a lot. Big gap.
Yeah.
For a team that, if City wins their 2 games in hands, is only 4 points on top of City.
Well, here's the thing. Chelsea at this point, according to Opta, only have a 24% chance of qualifying for Champions League.
Because they're looking at top 4 right now, I think, right? They're not doing top 5.
That's what I'm guessing. And in fact, Lars and I were talking about this earlier this week. Does the fact that the England we came to the conclusion that despite having a bad run in the round of 16, that it is still likely England will end up with the 5 spots. I was curious that if only 2 teams progress to the quarterfinals, would that impact?
No, they were so far ahead that it was going to take a true disaster.
Yeah, so I don't know if these Opta stats reflect 4 or 5 positions. But that's what they got going on. So
what's Liverpool's chance of making Champions?
They have them at 42.8, and they have United at 60%.
Wow.
But they have Aston Villa at 66.
Okay.
So we'll talk about those two here in just a few minutes. Now, the rest of the stuff, and we'll get into this here in a little bit, West Ham this afternoon, this is one of those weird Saturday afternoon stateside Saturday night games over in England. West Ham is hosting Man City. City obviously needs to get 3 points to try to keep anything up with Arsenal. Plus, I think it would probably behoove City to find some form and consistency. But, man, West Ham's not been playing poor of late, and they certainly are a team desperate for points to get themselves out of the relegation zone. That game would be a fun watch.
What time does that
start?
That
game's at 3 o'clock Dallas time.
Okay.
And just while we're talking about this, have you been paying, and have you watched much West Ham lately?
No, just when they played Liverpool very recently.
I'm just curious. Have you, what's that kid?
I remember watching them a little bit and telling you that I thought they were actually playing pretty well, and you, just
dismissed
offhand. Me like I was nothing.
I've been watching,
and here we are.
Have you been paying attention to this midfielder they've picked up, the young kid, the younger guy, Mateus Fernandes, the Portuguese? He can play all over the midfield. He's a really nice player. Somebody's going to buy him from West Ham in the offseason. Watch. He's I don't know where they got him. I don't know when they added him. I just started seeing him pop up in the last 2 months or so.
Yep.
He may have been somebody they picked up in the window. I should probably know the answer to this, and I don't. But nice kid, nice one to watch. Keep an eye on. And
$38 million.
Yes, and then tomorrow, lots of games. Crystal Palace hosting Leeds. United and Aston Villa obviously is a huge game. 3rd versus 4th. Villa has not won with more than 1 game in this calendar year. They've been in a real weird tailspin of late, so they had an opportunity to get one on at Old Trafford tomorrow. Forest, obviously another team that needs points as they try to keep out of the relegation zone, are hosting Fulham. And then Liverpool hosting Spurs tomorrow at 10:30 or 11:30. It will be at 11:30 here tomorrow. And I thought this would be a good time for us to check in with our official Spurs person and your Spurs leader, P1s, the good Lars Siverston. Here is the latest statement on the status of Spurs from Lars.
So it's been an eventful week at the Tottenham, I think it's fair to say. If the mood was already bad, it has gotten considerably worse. If faith in interim coach Igor Tudor's capabilities to turn this around was low to begin the week, it is now considerably lower. I don't think the Champions League really matters that much to Tottenham right now in the grand scheme of things. They just need to avoid getting relegated. But the events that unfolded in Madrid were so unusual. It was bad in such an interesting way. It was one of those things that was hard to look away from. It's kind of gone beyond humiliation at this point, and it's sort of, you go, "Ooh, well, this is interesting." And I think, yes, they've lost a lot of games in a row. Yes, morale is low. Yes, all the players are injured. We know all of this. But I think it's hard for a coach to sort of regain any kind of respect from the group after this, after he threw the reserve goalkeeper, who hasn't played since October, into a knockout game in the Champions League, and then provided him with very little help or support or anything when things inevitably went wrong. He also didn't really own that decision in the post-match interview. We've already seen stories in the UK press about how members of the squad have lost respect for him. Incredibly, because he didn't acknowledge poor Antonin Kinski as he was taken off after 17 minutes. We had Jed Spence, the fullback, when he was substituted later on, go to the bench, but then go back and actually make a big point of going to the coach and interacting with him, perhaps trying to teach Igor Tudor some manners. I mean, I guess someone has to. The situation is quite bleak, and definitely it seems like relegation is a real possibility for Spurs. And I'm going to throw this out there. I don't think Igor Tudor is staying there for the duration of the season. I think at some point we could see Sean Dyche in charge of Tottenham before the summer. This is a crazy thing, but I think it could happen.
I love the Lars prediction of Sean Dyche.
You know what that means,
finishing out the Spurs season.
You know what it means when Sean Dyche gets hired. Things are not going well, and you need to be saved.
You might as well call Big Sam.
Yes, right.
No, it's
pulling out all the stops.
But you know what? Did you watch them?
I did
this midweek in that.
Yeah,
game?
I mean, I did. I had the multi thing going. The what do you call it? Golazo.
It's terrible.
It is.
And in a week or so ago, when Lars and other people are like, "Man, I'm just telling you, they're shaped to get relegated," and I thought, seriously?
But I know we're going to talk Champions League, but let's talk about Spurs. I'm assuming you asked me if I watched that game, right?
Yes. Did you watch the Champions League game?
Yes.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah, and so Lars alluded to it with the decision to pull the goalkeeper out. That is if the decision to play him, to pull him out, and to explain, he got scored on 3 times in the first 15, 20 minutes.
16 minutes, 2 of which were his own howlers.
Right, yeah. He slipped. Bad studs. I mean, he slipped.
Right.
And then he doesn't talk to him.
The coach doesn't talk to him.
Yes. If he was fighting to keep a handle on that locker room, like he lost it right there.
Oh, well, I'm not sure. With all the criticism he had piled on the players literally the day after he started the job, I'm not sure he had anybody in the locker room.
To begin with,
yeah,
right. Good point.
But all those other parts of that decision-making process, the thing that really surprises me out of this with Spurs is, for all the noise that we heard for years about people and fans criticizing Daniel Levy and the way he was operating Spurs, I think it's interesting how little, at least my perception is, how little I hear people complaining about the family that is now running Spurs currently. And because all of this is all decision making of their part. After firing Levy, hiring
it seems like a
Thomas
lot
Frank, firing Thomas Frank, the buys they did or didn't make, and then hiring Igor Tudor are all their decision making. And I'm surprised I'm not hearing more noise about them and their ownership and operation of this stuff.
The Lewis family.
The Lewis family. Yes. Sorry if I didn't say that.
No. Just making sure, because I don't know, what's the dynamic there? It's not like the Lewis family's running it.
There's a board of people, but I think one of the kids, one of the older sons, is the one that's now in the Daniel Levy role. I can't remember his first name.
Okay.
And
so ownership is essentially then making those.
Yeah, and maybe they just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, maybe.
But Lars throwing out the Sean Dyche thing is unbelievable.
It's magnificent, But from the perspective of a Liverpool supporter, which I am, and we play them, the club plays them tomorrow, this is bad for Liverpool.
Oh, you're not sandbagging this, are you?
Look, the way the season has gone, this is going to be the turning point for Spurs.
Stop. Because here's the reality. They have not fired Igor Tudor already because they're going to let him swim in his own vomit pile with the Liverpool game tomorrow and the return leg against Atletico Madrid on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, yeah.
I'm telling you, that's exactly what. Because why would you subject anybody else to that, whether it be Sean Dyche or some assistant manager?
Well, you think that like after that defeat in Madrid, that was enough?
Oh, I think they have to be done with him. Lars was shocked they didn't fire him after that game. But Lars was also the one that he and I agreed, well, it's because why would they subject anybody else to the punishment of Liverpool in a return leg?
It's an ambush waiting to happen tomorrow, I'm telling you.
The idea that Tottenham would be playing in the championship next year, I've joked a lot about, but the more this drags out, the more I really ponder what that would look like, and it's not good.
Lars, cover your ears. So between just you and I, nobody else is listening.
Safe space, nobody's listening. We'll turn the mics off.
What are you secretly rooting for? Chaos, for them to go down. Entertainment.
No, I don't think I root
Spectacle.
that. No, I don't think I root that on them.
Why not?
Because I just think that would be bad for the league and the game.
What?
But if they deserve it, they deserve it.
Why is it bad for the league? I'm not saying I'm rooting for that. But why would it be bad if it would be good if one of the bigs goes down, I would think.
Maybe it's the theory, the scorched earth theory. Maybe Tottenham can only rise once again if it's been burned to the ground.
Maybe. They'll come right back up if they go down. Hey, I don't think they'll go down, by the way. I don't think they're going down.
West Ham's playing okay, so they
need... Forest is going to go down.
Is it Forest, you think?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because they're also a dumpster fire. They are.
Yeah. I think what's complicating factors is Nuno figuring out West Ham.
Perhaps. But he's getting frustrated there too, by the way, because their ownership group is also
So you
silly.
think Forest will be the relegated team
owner,
and Spurs and
West Ham
will be the two that stay up.
Yep.
Okay.
You?
Well, if they hire Sean Dyche, which would be pretty effing funny,
then there's no way they go down.
Then I'm probably going to lean your way. Yeah, for sure. All right, there you go. There's the weekend in the Premier League and what's coming up tomorrow. When we come back, we'll get on the phone with the good Jeff Carlisle, switch gears, and talk U.S. men's national team here next on the KickAround. Welcome back to the KickAround. Fun times. We got a lot coming up, including World Cup Nerd as we look back at the times of the lead up to the 94 World Cup here in the United States. But first, speaking of which, let's get on the Diamond Factory ticket hotline right now and dial up our good friend. It is from ESPN, the great Jeff Carlisle. Howdy, Jeff. Welcome back to the KickAround. Oh, no.
On the ticket.
Hello, Jeff. Are you there? Now we are.
Sports radio.
You there?
Okay. I'm here. Can
now
you hear me?
You are. Yes.
Okay.
Very good. How you been, man?
Good. Yeah. Getting ready for all the festivities at the end of the month. So, looking forward to it.
I bet you are. Now, are you dedicated specifically to covering the national team for ESPN? Are you still doing San Jose and all the other stuff?
Yeah, occasional MLS, but most, with the World Cup coming up, that's going to be taking up a lot of oxygen. So I'll be, I'd say, mostly on the U.S. men's national team.
Are you following them like during World Cup? Wherever they go, you go? Is that the kind of beat you'll be on? Nice.
Yeah, I'll be with them starting on. Well, I'll go to the friendlies, obviously, but I'll be with them starting on June 7th, and I'll be with them for as long as they're in it.
Well, then you're the best person I could think of in the world to ask you the following question. And it's not it's not an uh-oh. I'm curious as to what's the best way to ask this question? What is your current vibe about the roster or what the situation with the team is? Because 6 months, a year ago, my level of concern was off the charts. of this being really bad. And now I feel like we're all just very quietly under the table humming very optimistically.
A good neutral?
Yes. And I'm curious, since you're really tied into it, is that a safe or indoor fair place to be as a fan?
Yeah, I think so. I think, the last two international windows, in October and November, I think they were encouraging on a lot of levels. I mean, most of which was just the way the team played, even though they're at times missing some key players. Just overall, I think the performances were really impressive. I think the team is healthier than it's been. I mean, obviously, Serginho Dest situation notwithstanding. And I'm told, or I read earlier today, that Tyler Adams was kept out of the match today as a precaution. So I don't know how concerned to be about that. But, I think things are coming together. I mean, I think there's some positional questions. I mean, certainly how Mauricio Pochettino is going to replace Serginho Dest in the lineup and on the roster. I mean, I think that's a question. I think where Weston McKennie plays is another. I have some opinions on that. And then, have guys like Johnny Cardoso and Yunus Musa done enough to get back on the roster? I would say yes and no if I were trying to assess those two situations. So, but I think the overall vibe is good. I mean, obviously these are two tough opponents coming up in Portugal and Belgium. So, we'll have a much better idea of how the team is playing, who's in good form, how is the team chemistry? Because it seems like almost for the duration of Pochettino's tenure with the U.S., he's never really had his full complement of players. Someone's always been injured, or, McKennie's case, he wanted him to stay with his club to get used to a new manager. I mean, things of that sort always kind of cropped up. So, but yeah, I think, the hope is that when the roster's announced on Tuesday, it'll contain a lot of familiar names, and we'll all be nodding our heads in agreement at what Pochettino does.
So what's your feeling, Jeff, about what his approach will be with these two games? I mean, does he keep treating these as, I don't want to say tryout opportunities, but tweaking opportunities, bubble guy opportunities, or is he now getting to the point where he wants to put the most A-team roster possible on the field to test things? Or does he have enough time to still do that with the May friendlies?
I would think that he would want to get his A-team out there and really start solidifying things even more than they have over the last two windows. I mean, you want to see how Pulisic and McKennie would function on the field together. I think the last time McKennie played, he was playing alongside Malik Tillman in kind of that twin attacking midfield role. So I would think that he would want to get, his best 11 out there. Certainly, there's two games. There's substitution opportunities. I think guys will get a chance. When I say guys, I mean guys who are on the bubble. I think they will get opportunities to prove themselves. But Pochettino's also got a fairly, I'd say, thick book of data in which to assess these guys. There are, some issues, I think, just in terms of like, hey, who's that third center back going to be? Is it going to be Alex Freeman? Is it going to be Mark McKenzie? Is it, going to be Miles Robinson? I mean, I think there's some tactical questions in terms of that as well. But I think, getting back to your original query, listen, if it were me, I'd want to start getting the A-team chosen, solidified, and make sure that these guys are going to be on the same page come June.
So speaking of center backs, a lot of the noise this week has surrounded the split nationality German-U.S. young player Nakoa Banks, who is playing for Augsburg, and he's been playing very, very well, and he's been very non-committal. And I'm curious if you've heard any noise about how hard the Federation is trying to get him to commit to coming to the United States, especially because he's a guy who clearly would rather play for the German national team, but isn't getting they're not knocking on his door.
Listen, I mean, I think Nakoa Banks is in an impossible situation. I mean, he's clearly got affinity for both countries. He's played for the U.S. at youth level in a Youth World Cup. He visits his dad, who still lives in the D.C. area. He's visited him often. That connection is still there. He has some pretty deep friendships with, that were formed during his youth national team days. And he spoke to me very highly of his time last September in the U.S. camp when, guys like Tim Ream and Tim Weah and Christian Pulisic, went out of their way to really make him feel welcome. But, the reality is that this is a guy who is, his family moved back to Germany when he was 7 weeks old. And so
he's German. Yeah.
I mean, he grew up in Germany. He's grown up in that culture, that footballing culture as well. I just think that, I just think he's torn in two at the moment. And I think another thing to think about is if he plays in one of these games, now granted, he would not be permanently cap-tied to the U.S., but if he wanted to play for Germany, it would set the timeline back, by the way I read the statute, 3 years.
Yeah.
So, if he wanted to play for Germany somewhere, in the next World Cup, he wouldn't be able to start, getting into the squad and getting familiar with the way they do things until right before the 2030 World Cup. So, it's just a really, tough situation. And so, I mean, I just think he's having to juggle a lot of things. He wasn't in the lineup today for Augsburg, which, he was an unused sub, which struck me as a little unusual. I haven't been able to glean yet, why that was. But, I just think the guy's not ready to make a decision. And so I think ultimately what's going to happen is that, Pochettino is going to be forced to look elsewhere. I mean, I've seen the reports where Pochettino has been on the phone with Banks trying to convince him. We'll find out, in the days to come, how effective a salesman Mauricio Pochettino is. But I do want to emphasize it is a tough situation and a tough decision that Noah Kai Banks finds him in. He's a delightful kid. I mean, he's super personable. It's just that, he's clearly torn in two.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he ends up playing for the U.S. in the World Cup just because of the fact that he is German for all intents and purposes. I'm curious about, you said you had some opinions about Wes, about positions. Would you mind sharing said opinions about Weston McKennie?
Of course. I think on this team, his best position would be as one of the twin attacking number 10s, with Christian Pulisic taking up that other spot.
Interesting.
He's played a lot of wingback with Juventus. I think the U.S. has bigger needs. And I think McKennie's talents warrant a more prominent role than playing as a wingback. Not that it's not an important position, but so, I mean, I think that either means he plays as one of the attacking number 10s or he plays as one of the twin center midfielders. And I just think McKennie's instincts are much stronger going forward.
I agree.
And, he, in the past, he's talked about his friendship with Tyler Adams. He says, yeah, I love it because he does all the running for me. And so that doesn't exactly scream, I'm going to be super disciplined on the defensive side.
Oh, but it's a World Cup, Jeff. Things change. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
It's a World Cup.
So I think, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, that's one of the big things for this window that I'm looking to see, how Pochettino deploys him. He could play alongside Tyler Adams. I mean, that's a possibility. I just think, I think he's also been more effective for the U.S. I'm trying to remember, I think it was back in October against Australia that McKennie and Malik Tillman were very good together.
Yeah.
Really just read each other well, found each other pretty frequently. Both of them delivered some telling passes, and the U.S. looked good as a result. So we'll have to see.
I think the journey of Weston McKennie so far is fascinating because I swear this time a year ago we were all like, man, he may be the guy that Pochettino doesn't put on the plane because he's in such a bad way in how he treats himself and he treats it showing up for the team and where he is today.
That's gone 180, man.
It has gone 180 degrees.
Yeah. Hey, so real quick, Jeff, we don't have a lot of time, but today, March 14th, 3 months out from that first game in the World Cup, and all national teams have issues and have problems to resolve. For you, though, for this national team, what is your biggest worry, the one biggest worry heading into the World Cup 3 months out?
I mean, my biggest worry is health. I mean, I want guys to stay healthy. I think they're in a good spot right now, but, I mean, Tyler Adams has had issues. Pulisic has had issues. Other players have had issues. So really, that to me is the one thing that could really upset the apple cart.
All right, so we have to stay on pins and needles. That's what I gathered from. Okay,
yeah,
it's okay.
Exactly.
Do we know exactly the severity of Dest's injury?
I mean,
it's a hamstring injury, correct?
It is, but I don't know if you've seen the footage of when he got hurt.
Yeah.
He was in agony.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just etched on his face. I mean, he could barely put any weight on the leg as he was helped off the field by not one but two members of the PSV medical staff. So I'm thinking 2 months. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm being overly optimistic. I mean, we'll see how well a healer Dest is, but it's just it's a real tough situation. And luckily, I do think the U.S. has some depth at wingback. I think Tim Weah is a guy that I think probably is going to be asked to step up. I mean, it could be Alex Freeman.
Yunus Musa?
The times that he's played there for the U.S., I don't think he's looked that great. Granted, he's had a couple goals, but really he has not played a whole heck of a lot.
No, you're right.
The start of the year.
Yeah,
and so
you're right.
I would be surprised, but I mean, if you include Musa, then I think that puts a guy like Joe Scally at risk. I mean, they're both versatile kind of in their own way. I mean, Scally, because he could play center back in a pinch, Musa play center midfield or wing back. But, I mean, I don't. And then to me, Musa has not looked that comfortable in that role.
Yeah.
To me, he looks much more comfortable in the middle. And obviously, as you all know, there's a lot of competition there.
All right, last question. With the games coming up at the end of the month, the Portugal and the Belgium game, and since we're not going to talk to you before then, I doubt, what would you tell fans that they probably should keep an eye on more than anything else for those two friendlies?
I would say where McKennie plays, who plays at that right wing back role, and then I'm also interested who's going to be that right-sided center back alongside Tim Ream and Chris Richards. I mean, those are the positional battles. I'm also curious, what kind of shape Anthony Robinson is going to be in. He had that run of games, 6, and at the time I remember just thinking to myself, man, is this too much too soon? Is this too much of a good thing?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, he started missing some games. And so, I'll be curious to see if he plays and how sharp he is if he gets on the field.
The great Jeff Carlisle from ESPN. Follow him for all your U.S. men's national team news and brouhaha. Thanks, Jeff. You're always the best, and we appreciate you taking time on a Saturday to come on the show.
Anytime. Always a lot of fun.
All right.
Thanks,
we'll talk to you
Jeff.
again soon. Thanks, Jeff. When we come back, we will get into the week in the Champions League next year on the KickAround. Nailed it. Welcome back to the KickAround. The World Cup Nerd segment is coming up in about 15 minutes. Andy and I will look back into the lead-up of the 94 World Cup. What was going on back then? What was the mood, the vibe? What was everybody freaked out about? We'll talk about that here in about 15 minutes here on the KickAround. First, let's get into the action midweek in the Champions League. Now, again, this is a weird setup. This feels like this should be the quarterfinals, but it's not because of the Swiss model system, the extra knockout round. This is actually the round of 16. I am curious, though, Andy, after this weekend, and please just take Liverpool out of it, okay? Can you have this conversation without being pouty about Liverpool?
Okay.
Did you think this was an entertaining round of games?
No, the football, the soccer itself was not entertaining. The drama and the storylines were.
Yeah. Okay,
Is
fair
that
enough.
fair?
Yeah, that is fair. Which one do you want to start with? You want to start with the good one, or you want to the fun one, the feel-good story of the tournament, or do you want to save that to last?
No, let's. I think. Who are you rooting for in this tournament now?
I got to be Bodo Glimt. Man.
Right, exactly, and that's who I'm rooting for. Other than my team, that's who I'm rooting for,
Did you
and that's who like everybody's rooting for.
Did you see the goals they scored against Sporting this week?
By the way, we're talking about Bodo Glimt, the team from Norway, who plays in a town population 50,000,
something like
inside the Arctic Circle. We have to say it every. We have to reset
right.
every
and they've
week.
just started their league season.
Yes. And so now they've advanced yet again in Champions League.
And they're playing Sporting.
Yes.
And they're at home.
Portuguese powerhouse.
And they just whooped Sporting 3-0.
3-0. Now, were you surprised it was the main game?
Yes.
On CBS, Paramount, whatever it is that shows.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there were so many different options, obviously, at that time.
Yes, you got City playing at Madrid. You got... Well, Liverpool was a different time this time, but Chelsea at PSG.
It was great. I mean, look, did I tell you what Nico Canto said last week?
You told me, but I forgot.
He put up his predictions, and he predicted that they would win this, and then they would play Arsenal in the next round, and they would beat Arsenal and go to the semifinal.
Yeah, he was just getting...
Or go to the semifinal.
He was just getting clicks.
I think he was engagement from. But after watching a lot of Bodo Glimt lately, they play a style that I think will, assuming Arsenal gets through, give Arsenal trouble. Like, I think that's going to be
because they counter so well?
Because they do so many things well.
Pressure
They're
on the
such
ball.
a good collective.
Yeah, exactly.
They're the sum of their parts kind of thing.
A team like this that advances this far and to get the results they have.
It's not a fluke.
It's not a fluke. But it always, the strength of teams like this is always the collective.
Yeah.
Always.
I think two parts in that. One, having to go to Norway, I think will give Arsenal fits having to play on that surface in that stadium in a quarterfinal. I think that's an advantage. And two, all the pressures on Arsenal.
Yeah.
Assuming both teams get through, and I'm way ahead of myself on this, but I'm just saying I don't think Arsenal beating Bodo Glimt in a quarterfinal over two legs is the...
Given, I
think a lot of people would think it
that
is.
we typically would think, right. Yep.
I mean, look, Arsenal had to play Leverkusen this week, and they only got 1-1 in that game.
So let's make that the other storyline to talk about, which is the collective EPL performance in this first leg of this round. Not good, right? So Arsenal did draw at Leverkusen. Shaky PK?
Sure.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
That's how they got the draw, but fair. And they should be able to advance at home. They should win that game. And then Liverpool, the 1-0 defeat in Turkey, not ideal, but...
God, that was a weird game.
It was. Liverpool did not play well. Both teams, we were talking about it off air, but both teams feel like they probably could have gotten another goal or so. Liverpool feel like they could have gotten the draw. But... This is not insurmountable for Liverpool at home.
No.
Right.
Side note, I think I'm going to forever, from here on out, going to watch games on television played in Turkey on mute.
Yeah. The whistling is something else.
It is
at first...
I can't imagine what it must be like to play in that.
At first, it's like a player gets the ball, and I'm like, oh, they don't like this guy. And I'm trying to figure out what the history here. And then it's the whole time. The whole time, they're just whistling about anything. And it's not about one thing. It's like a vuvuzela.
Lars has been to games there, and I was asking him about it, and he's like, yeah, you have no idea. It's so loud, it almost hurts. And I would assume if I was going to a game there, I would have to take my earplugs because I couldn't handle it.
Fair on them, because if you're a visiting team, it's a pain in the neck to have to deal with.
100%. Sorry,
that's how
didn't
it
mean
works.
to derail us.
Okay, so now we get to the other, how many other? Four?
Four Premier League teams.
There were six.
Yep.
talk about the other 4 now, and they were all disasters, right? Is that fair?
Well, no, I would say Newcastle was not a disaster. I thought Newcastle played amazingly well in the draw versus Barcelona.
Yeah, fair because it's Barcelona.
And I would say of all the Premier League teams, they probably had the best performance.
Sure. The issue with them is that it was a draw at home. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
but
why.
I think a lot of people went into that thinking Barcelona's going to walk Newcastle,
Yeah.
and they did. Newcastle continues to prove to me that now I am starting to see the inklings of why they've held on to Eddie Howe for as long as they have, because through some means, he seems to get that team to play really, really hard, even in situations. Think about, when they were playing United the other day, down a man, and they got the win in this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
It's just they're so mid-table right now.
But, Barcelona plays such a high line that Newcastle's got some speed. I don't think that return leg in Spain is the given either.
Yeah, okay.
Lars brought this up the other day, that the Barcelona situation with Flick insisting on playing this high line has become such a concern within the players. They had a meeting with him about it. And he was like, nope, we're doing this. So, don't be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but Eddie Howe may pull one out of his hat.
Okay, that'll be
on
okay.
Wednesday or Tuesday. I can't remember which time.
That'll be a fun game to watch. And then we spoke about Spurs and the Atletico Madrid disaster. 5-2 was the final score.
Embarrassing.
That score is not indicative of what the difference between Madrid and Spurs that game. More than 3-goal scoreline would have been more fair for Madrid. Now, which game do you want to talk about first? Madrid City or PSG Chelsea?
Let's do PSG and Chelsea.
Okay.
The replay of the World Championship.
Yes, right, the final, which Chelsea won the final. Now, I will give you credit because I was like, no, Chelsea, this is their tie. They get through here. PSG's not what they are, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I don't know. And here we are, and you were right.
Well, but it was a tight game. I mean, PSG took...
For a while.
It was up until, what was it, like the 70th something minute?
Right.
And then PSG pulled away.
Yeah, 5-2 was the final.
Again, much like Tottenham deciding out of your butt to replace your goalkeeper with a backup in a Champions League knockout game probably wasn't the smartest decision.
Right. And also, this is the thing about these home and aways, and now road goals don't count, away goals don't count. Giving up those extra goals. I mean, losing on the road is fine. Losing
Giving
by
up 5 goals,
yes,
is a problem.
It's a problem.
Yeah. And Chelsea, again, losing again today. There's clearly a lot going on there. And PSG, I would anticipate, is going to get out of that. Now, the other one, obviously, is Madrid and City. The Valverde show. Man, I'm telling you, each one of those goals was unbelievably good. Obviously, the best one being the third one.
Did you hear how the announcer, it was a color guy, I don't know who the color guy was, he compared him to Zico.
For those who don't know, that's Andy's hero.
Yeah, he's
Brazilian.
It's some old guy doing color. He's like, he reminds me, old guy like us, reminds me of Zico back in the day. I'm like, yes, this is an English guy saying this. Awesome. It does remind me of Zico. Say it again.
You loved it. Yeah, you loved that.
But it was an awesome goal.
It was. This is another one of those games where I know he's caught a lot of heat, but you do have to wonder, did Pep overthink this one? Losing in Madrid in a Champions League knockout first leg is one thing, but losing 3-0 and now putting themselves in a situation that they're going to have to score a lot of goals. I don't know. And what's the score now in the game against West Ham? So they're up 1-0. No, they're tied 1-1. That's halftime, right. Yeah, they're tied 1-1 against West Ham at halftime right now. So I don't know. I guess the thing that came out of this, and Bayern blew out Atalanta 6-0. And did I miss any of the other ones?
No, that's the only one.
That's all the other one.
Yeah.
The noise after this I thought was interesting, which is everybody wondering why the English clubs all kind of farted in this particular point of the tournament, and immediately everybody was like, well, the difference is the English don't take a winter break, and they've just been playing more games, and they got to be more tired. But my reaction to that is they also make an incredibly larger amount of money, and they should, in theory, have much deeper rosters to accommodate that schedule.
They do. I will say, we've talked about this, is the week in and week out, the EPL is a little bit tougher. Like Bayern's
Yes,
already
of
9
course.
points out. So those teams that are not EPL have rosters that aren't as deep, but rotation is not as much of a concern. So EPL teams do have to rotate those deep rosters also in league play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a factor. I don't know. Yeah. It hasn't been a factor in other years, this not having a winter break. And suddenly, I just think it's, there are other teams that played them really well.
Well, it does feel like this is a weird turn of events considering how well the English clubs had done and progressed through the Champions League at this point. So for all of them to kind of like fall in their face.
It could be a small sample size in just one token week.
Yeah, and every tournament is different for sure. So we'll see where it goes. The return legs are this week. If you played on Tuesday last week, you play on Wednesday this week and vice versa.
But do you like Bayern as the favorite now?
Overall in the tournament?
Yeah.
No, I still have Arsenal as the favorite.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
I picked Arsenal at the beginning of the season to win Champions League, and I still think I think they've got a really good shot. Although I'm going to repeat what I said. I don't think beating Bodo in the next round is a given.
As a given.
I think that's
Okay.
If they were to get him and get to the semifinal, assuming they would play, they'd have to get through either Barcelona or Atletico Madrid. I think any of those matchups would be fascinating. I just think those would be great.
I'm telling you, the quarters are still going to be the greatest.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, it'll be good. Is Liverpool going to over?
I think that, if I don't say this, then you say that I'm like sandbagging, but I do think they have a decent chance. I mean, it's how Liverpool at home,
All right.
Champions League.
We're running late. How many of the 6 English teams make it to the next round?
Well, 2 is the obvious on paper answer because the other ones are going to be tough to overcome the goal differences.
I think if it's 3, they've come out good.
Yeah,
exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, we'll get into it. It's World Cup Nerd next on the KickAround. Mom stories. See? They're fun. Welcome back to the
KickAround.
Come on, that's funny, isn't it?
So,
no. It's just funny. Just go along. It's funny.
No. I'm more wondering about you. Hey, look. Listen.
It's your
the
favorite
bat
song.
signal.
Yeah, it's the bat signal. It's your favorite song in the whole world. By the way, we have an extra bonus segment today. This isn't it. We get to go till 4:30 today here on Little Ticket. So bonus KickAround coming up. Yes, that is the bat signal. That is the song. That is indication that it's time for World Cup Nerd, Andy. World Cup Nerd. The World Cup's almost here. I don't know if you know this, Andy, but the World Cup, at least in theory, is coming to the United States here in less than 100 days. I think we're down to 91 days?
Something like that.
Something
It's
like
June
that?
11th and it's March 14th, so do the math.
Do the math. All right. Andy, this week in World Dallas specifically, the official announcement came out about the extra thing that is happening. Dallas has got so much going on, but the Fan Fest and all the details of Fan Fest were announced.
Yeah, so we talk about how Dallas 9 matches, semifinals, the IBC, brought all these things.
IBC, International Broadcast Center.
Yes, very good, little Peter. But the Fan Fest, all host cities, Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, are required to have Fan Fest. Well, we're required per the bid process.
When did they start requiring Fan Fest for World
Well,
Cups?
in 98, that was the first time a host country had Fan Fest. And after that, FIFA saw,
that was France, right?
Yeah, France 98. And then so since then, but I don't know when it's become part of the bid process. Anyway, my point here is that, we've heard about Fan Fest in other cities, maybe changing, tweaking, going away in some cases, but not here, man. We are going to have the Fan Fest. We're going to have it every day. We're going to show every game. It's going to be for free.
Well, not every game.
No, not late games.
Not
at
the 11
West Coast.
p.m.
Yes,
game. Yes.
Right. There's 5 or 6 games. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the general idea, right? That we are going to have a legit Fan Fest.
Yeah, I meant to go to the presentation. I didn't make it, but I saw a lot of the drawings and after. So the big center point of FanFest, and by the way, it's all down at Fair Park. It's all absolutely free, which is great. But what they're doing, I keep calling it Starplex because that's what I grew up thinking. It's called the Dos Equis Pavilion.
But it'll become something else.
But it'll be called something, right, because of sponsorship. Right. But the amphitheater that's in Fair Park is going to be the center hub of this entire FanFest. Right. And I saw a drawing. They're going to just like fill it with TVs.
Yeah, they're going to be TVs, not just the amphitheater area. I mean, they're going to be sections
up
to
the
the
hill
side.
And everything.
Yeah,
yes.
they're going to be TVs everywhere. There's going to be like a family section, sponsor activation areas. But the idea is, if you go get concessions, if you want to take your kid to the little kid playground,
the potty,
you want to go. You will never not be able to see the game that is being broadcast. That's going
to be so cool.
And then when there are no games being played, they'll have music. There'll be food out there.
And again, it's free.
It is.
Now, will parking be free?
There's going to be VIP parking. Oh, but this is the other thing, because it's Fair Park. Public transportation available.
Oh, taking Dart in will be free.
Yeah,
really?
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, cool beans for us.
It is now, which begged the question, because I don't remember this. We didn't have FanFest in '94, because this is really what we wanted to do in this segment was look back at '94.
You were asking me, and I spent all my time. This is not an excuse, but all my time at Fair Park because working the matches. I don't remember if there was like an official FanFest or where it was in Dallas. There might have been one at Fair Park. I don't really remember it being a thing.
No. So you got to remember, I wasn't living here in '94.
Yeah, right.
I had literally just started a job and moved to New York City in the lead up to this. And the unfortunate part, the reality for me about the World Cup was '94 really is what kicked off my hardcore following of soccer, because I was falling off on the Cowboys because that clearly was about to start going nowhere. And the World Cup gave me kind of the enthusiasm of getting into, because we weren't watching games on TV on the regular. The internet wasn't a thing.
Look, man, in '94 in the U.S., even leading up to '94, especially leading up to '94, I read somewhere that I heard somebody say it, and I looked it up online, that between 15 and 20% of the general population at that time knew what the World Cup was.
Right.
And not even that it was coming to the U.S., because it was a much different time in terms of how much of us, we weren't a soccer nation. There was no professional league. It wasn't on TV.
One of the topics that has been going on about this World Cup for the last, year, 18 months that I have found frustrating is the conversation and kind of concern that grew over transportation to and from AT&T. It's going to be called Dallas Stadium in Arlington. How we're going to get all these people there. And I kept thinking to myself, I don't know why this is such a deal, because in 1994, I don't remember people freaking out about how we were going to get people to and from the Cotton Bowl.
And Dart,
which, by the way, wasn't even Dart didn't exist back then.
Right, yeah.
So we have a vastly more complete, built out highway structure. Now, again, we're a much bigger metroplex with many more people than we were, all those years ago. But
for example, when the Super Bowl got played at AT&T.
Well, that's not a good example because of the weather, the ice storm.
No. But leading up to it, not exactly how it all went down, but was there a lot?
No.
Was there a lot of stress about how people would get to the stadium?
No, and they do 100,000 person attendances at that stadium, several times a year, and we don't.
The difference is that we will have fans coming from other parts of the world, and they're not all used to. I mean, they are used to having public transportation to get to matches.
Yes, and I was watching. I was listening to an English podcast the other day, and they were talking about how it was a video podcast, and they showed a picture of one of the stadiums and how it was just surrounded by parking lots, and they were like, well, this is going to ruin the experience, because I'm like, no, guys, look, you're not going to have to take a car to go to the stadium. All of these places are going to have ways for you to commute and get there. But I'm also not going to apologize that the United States is geographically just a different place than Europe.
Yeah, right.
We used our land differently than you guys did.
So by going back to '94, we did have a lot of fans come from all over the world.
Yes.
And
they got to the Cotton Bowl.
And they got to the Cotton Bowl. And so where there's a, what's the saying?
There's a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Now, I think our the general populace's not expectation, but anticipation and expectation of what is coming is a little different now. First of all, now we're up to like 80 to 90% awareness of the World Cup and that it's coming here. So that's a big shift, right, from what it was in 94. But in 94, I don't think like the everyday person in the street knew what was coming.
Well, I'm not my memories of 94, because back then I was traveling for work pretty much every day of every week. And I was traveling all over the United States at the time, and I was excited about the World Cup, but I clearly remember, especially even in host cities at the time, people were not like aware. They didn't understand. They weren't excited about it, at least not until very, very close to the tournament. And then once the tournament started, everybody kind of went through the roof. It was kind of like an Olympics. Suddenly everybody cared.
When the supporter groups arrived from the different national teams and the passion, and they saw that. Now, there's an interesting story related to the Cotton Bowl here and preparations for that. I remember that the LOC at the time, the organizing committee, back then, had to, and this went on for 6 months, had to fight with, I guess, the Dallas Police Department, City Council, local authorities on what kind of moat or high fence they were going to put around the Cotton Bowl, around the field, because they didn't want the hooligans jumping
the fences
to get to the field. I mean, because they thought this is soccer's coming, and this is what's going to happen. And so, FIFA told the LOC at the time, the local organizer, like, you guys got to go fight that. We are not putting 12-foot fences around our field. And eventually, they didn't do it. The DPD acquiesced. The other things were done instead, and everything turned out fine.
It is interesting to be of an age that I have memories of this so many years ago, and then trying to juxtapose it against what we have coming up today. And I get it. There's a whole subset of people that just weren't around in 94 to experience that. And I guess this is all new to them now, and so their concerns or levels of excitement all vary. My anticipation of what is going to happen is far more organized, and we are far more compatible and capable of hosting something like this. And I'm including Mexico and Canada in this than we were back in 94.
Yeah. Now, Mexico, this is their third World Cup. So they're Canada, I would say, is more similar to us without the experience of 94. So they're really the green ones and all this in terms of experience. But what I tell people, especially here, in North Texas, because this area, we have put on a lot of big events. It'll be a big event. Now, it's going to be a big event at a different level. It will be, right? And so I think ultimately you can wonder and think and anticipate what's coming, and it's probably going to be a notch above that. But I do think we are in a much better place in terms of being ready for what's coming.
Yes, and because I'm sure there are people out there listening to this that are all thinking the same thing. We're saying all of this with the current ongoing situation set aside. I mean, obviously a lot of things can change if world events change. But I can't make any assumptions or guess as to what that's going to be.
We're doing apples to apples right now. This is the conversation we're having.
100%.
Yeah.
Related to that, the good news for those who have not been paying attention, Andy, myself, and Lars will be here stateside for 2 full months. World Cup KickAround returns for a nightly wrap-up show here on the Ticket for the entirety of the tournament, Monday through Saturday, 7 p.m. on weeknights, our regular 2 to 4 slot on Saturdays, and a few Sundays. We'll have all the details, all the information. Yes, we'll be out doing appearances and everything, but that is happening again here on the Ticket.
Couldn't wait for Lars to be on next week to make the big announcement.
I'm going to keep reporting new audiences all the time. I can't promote this enough, Andy. I'm going to beat everybody over the head with this news.
I thought we'd do like the big announcement.
We'll do a bigger announcement next week when Lars is on. Yes, 100%. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll finish up the show with the dribble next on the KickAround. Yes, check it out. Bonus KickAround segment before we lead into something. I don't know what we lead into. Is it Stars Edge or Mavs Beat, or I don't know what it is. What is it?
It's Mavs Beat.
Mavs Beat.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Mavs Beat.
That's something
and
like
then
that.
Stars Edge. And then Stars pregame.
Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate it. We will do that for the next. We'll do this for the next 10 minutes and finish up the show. Let's do it. It's time now for America's favorite soccer segment, known as the Dribble. All right. So right now we are in the 62nd minute of West Ham hosting Man City, and that game is still tied at 1. And Pep, by the way, Pep is in the stands. Can you turn that up just a little bit, please, Tramel? Tramel, can you turn that up a little bit, please? Perfect. Thank you very much.
Gives you inspiration.
Pep is in the stands because he got a yellow card yelling at a ref, so he's suspended for this game and their FA Cup game. But don't be surprised if you see him in the Carabao Cup final, which is in between those two, because the rules stipulate that those games are exempt from suspensions.
Okay.
So,
right now, City's peppering West Ham.
They're trying, but man, this
peppering.
This has Pep's up in the stands on a cell phone, feverishly
Hey,
calling.
he's not allowed to do that. You can't do that.
I guess not. No. Okay. Can West Ham hold them off? I don't know. Crazy. It's 30 more minutes of this. Probably not. Probably not. Okay. Since we last talked, the U.S. women's national team won their 8th She Believes Cup in a 1-0 win over Colombia. They went undefeated in the tournament. Alyssa Thompson with it. Have you seen this goal? She hit.
I have not. No.
Banger.
Okay.
Total banger. And here's my observation out of this: is Emma Hayes has created an absolute monster. They are so deep.
Yeah. You know what the key was? She quickly, after coming on, switched to the youth movement, and now they're clicking. Remember when she did that?
Yes. So Naomi Girma, who is, without question, one of the most critical players on the team. She plays at Chelsea. She's a center back. She's fantastic. They had to take her off. I think her calf was tight. They put on this Tara Rudd lady. She was tremendous. She was so good. And then at the hour mark, they take off a bunch of really good players, and then they throw on Lindsay Heaps.
Yeah. Old school.
Frisco Kid, Shaw, Olivia Moultrie, and Emma Sears. All of those, any of those girls would be starting for any other national team in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, now, I say all of this, and it makes me wonder, is this one of those deals where we're just like, they're undefeatable, and they get to the next World Cup and we get a shocker result or something like that?
That's why they play the games, Peter.
Keep your eye on all that. I mean, and don't forget about Lily Johansson. She's fantastic. Andy, do you mind if I do a little kit talk here for a couple minutes?
I mind, but go ahead.
Okay. So this was the week Adidas came out with the throwback 94 denim jersey.
I thought you'd bring this up.
Now, you have to take note that this shirt they've made available isn't exactly like the shirt from 94.
What is missing, Peter?
It's missing the U.S. soccer crest from that time, which was just essentially a USA red letter.
It's a U.S. national team replica without the crest? How is that possible? Why did they do that?
Because they don't own the license to it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
They own the design, but they don't own the rights to the U.S. men's national team.
But if you wear that, I think it's pretty much self-explanatory, right?
This continues the trend of me being freaked out over people in love with things in 2026 that we all by and large guffawed at and was derided in 1994.
This is life. This has always happened. Always we have fashion like this.
It's like the Dallas Burn stuff.
Right.
Everybody laughed at the Burn stuff in 96, and now it's everybody's favorite.
Right. This is how it is with fashion.
Now, here's my take on this shirt. I thought it was goofy in 1994, and I think it's goofy now, and doesn't mean I wouldn't wear it.
Yeah.
I just think it's goofy. Now, let me throw this in. What made that kit cool wasn't the shirt. It was the red shorts and the white socks matched with the denim shirt that made that entire kit cool.
When you go to a watching party to watch the U.S. national team and you wear that jersey, are you going to wear the red shorts to go with it?
You can only go full kill. If you're going to do it, you got to go full kit wanker. La Liga has announced, speaking of kits, that coming up in April, they're going to do a retro match day weekend where 38 of the 42 teams across Spain's 2 top divisions will all wear throwback jerseys from their history.
I like that. Is this the first major league in Europe doing something like this?
I think so, and it's tied to Madrid's Fashion Week. And
are you going?
Well, no, I'm not. I have not been invited. But 2 of the teams not participating.
Real Madrid and Barcelona?
Yeah.
What? What? Why?
Apparently it's due to quote-unquote technical issues, which means that Nike and Adidas didn't want to go through the hassle.
Whatever.
And then, have you seen,
Yes.
Speaking of kits, this is the last kit thing.
Yes.
Have you seen
I have the Blues?
the Brazil
Yeah.
away or secondary blue?
With the is it a leopard or some kind of jungle animal?
Well, no,
kinda?
it looks like a Rorschach's test is what it looks like.
I have. This is Nike, right?
Do you have a hot sports opinion about this?
Yes. I think that
Does this doom Brazil's result in the tournament?
Yeah. I think that national teams that are traditional and the powers that like Germany and Spain and Brazil and Argentina should just stick to tradition and just do their thing. And
well, this still look, they typically wear a blue secondary kit, and this is blue. Now, what is also unusual about this is that this technically is not Nike.
No.
This is technically Jumpman, part of Nike's sub-brand with Michael Jordan.
The Jordan brand.
So this will have the Jumpman logo on it. And it is kind of a weird dark blue design with like a Rorschach test sublimated into it.
I think Brazil's focusing too much time on this and not enough on getting that national team ready because right now they're not very good.
Is Brazil the team that gets grouped? The surprise top seed that gets grouped?
No, they'll advance. It's a tough group. By the way, who's your favorite this week to win the World Cup? Remember?
Oh, thank you, Andy. This was a bit we were going to do week in and week out, and we've dropped the ball. Yes, who we think in this particular week is going to be our favorite to win the World Cup. I'm sticking with England. People were laughing at me, but I want to throw out why I'm even more confident. I am going to.
Why?
You know why I am even more confident? Because their goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford, is on a heater. He has made a series of saves, even today, over the course of the last 4 games, that any one of which would be on a highlight reel in a league for a season. And he's had a string of them. He is, as long as he stays healthy, England is lining up good.
He's not picking too early?
No, maybe not.
How tall is he? Is that World Cup height? World Cup
he's not,
championship
he may be
height?
a little shy.
No,
of
he's
that.
good. No, I agree. I'm kidding. He's been very good and one of their strengths for sure. I'm staying with Spain just because nobody else has stepped up in my eyes.
Very good. I mentioned earlier I wanted to bring up something about Lazio, and I didn't know this. I happened to flip on one of the games the other day, and Lazio was playing a home game, and there was nobody in the stadium. I mean, crickets. Lazio are like 10th in the table, and I was doing some reading. I didn't know this, but apparently the fan base has gotten so unhappy with the owner, a guy named Claudio Lotito, that the supporters groups in the fan base, by and large, have just stopped going to home games.
Like just
Andy,
don't go.
A fan base doing what I have been saying to Cowboy fans and other fans of other local teams unhappy with the progress of their teams for some time. Will just stop giving them your money.
Yeah.
Just don't go to the games. And they may actually force this owner's hand into selling the team.
They're 10th.
They have a stadium that holds 70,000 people in it, and they're getting 5,000 and 6,000 people a game over the last few games. In fact, the attendance of the last game was so bad, they didn't even report an attendance.
Is it the hardcores aren't going then? The ultras, or are they the only ones going?
Nobody's
Well, you said
going.
5,000 or 6,000 went.
Well, there's
so
just some
wondering.
people going that
Okay.
are sticking to it because they feel like they should.
Yeah.
And the fan base is like, okay, we're going to show up at this one game just to show that we do love the players.
Yeah.
But after that, we're done until you guys make some changes. They've been selling off their best players and just pissing off the general fan base left and right. I couldn't believe finally a fan base is calling the play that I've been wanting a fan base to call for some time.
We'll see if it works out for them.
We'll see. And then, to end the show today, did you hear the story about the Barcelona fan who went to go see his team at St. James when they played Newcastle earlier this week.
Yeah, he just Googled St. James and
he
Siri,
was traveling from London.
Siri, directions to St. James.
He got on the wrong train and ended up in Exeter at their St. James Park instead of St. James Park in Newcastle. And instead of the Champions League game with Barcelona and Newcastle, he ended up getting a free ticket because the club felt bad for him of Exeter City and Lincoln City.
He stayed and watched. Good for him.
And he stayed and watched in League One.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah, next time do a little better research. Hey, by the way, FC Dallas plays San Diego tonight.
Yes.
San Diego's looking good. FC Dallas is looking good, too. They're a tough team to play at home. It's difficult to get a result against FC Dallas. It is.
Dallas has got a problem tonight. Uragide is on the questionable list, which then puts the whole back line into question.
But San Diego is looking really, really good.
San Diego is very good, undefeated. They look good across all competitions. They were good last year in their debut season. I think they may look better this season. And the crazy part of that story is their head coach was an assistant coach at FC Dallas not too long ago under one of the previous managers.
Part of the tree that comes out of FC Dallas.
Yes. That game's at 7:30 tonight up at Toyota Stadium. Dallas needs points before the World Cup because after the World Cup, it's a lot of road games. Okay. Yes, 100%. All right, that does it for another show and the dribble.
Success today?
Great success.
Little better mood?
I've forgotten all about the technical and printer woes.
Little kick around
from 2.5 hours ago.
Huh?
Amazing how talking soccer cures all ills and puts all the bad stuff away. All right, we will be back next week. And I believe we're on early, and Lars will be joining us live. I think we'll be on from 12 to 2:30 next week.
Yeah, stay tuned for an announcement about World Cup KickAround next week.
Thanks, Cam Lafata, for doing tickers. Thank you, Dylan, for excellent production. And thank you, Trammell, for running the board. P1s, we love and adore you. Get stuck in and win your 50s.